wind blows across the dunes, unveiling the remains of some ancient battlefield. Amidst the bones and remnant scraps of armour, a sword, some lost legend, is still clutched by the hand of its forgotten wielder. As you reach out to inspect the hilt, the blade springs to life and flies into one last battle. It's Flying Sword!
Oh, yeah!
What's flying?
Hello, welcome to Challenge Raise. I'm Theo. We're doing something different today. I will be drawing, but also I've enlisted the help of also my co-hosts to draw as well, as a 10 episode special, episode 10 special.
Oh, by the way,
Yes.
I'm Neil.
I'm Sam. Hello.
But yeah, so we're all going to be drawing flying swords. And this ties into a little idea I've had before. Obviously, you know, this is the opportunity to draw a sword Sona.
Oh,
okay.
If you want. Something I really like about the flying sword is the one in the book is just, it's literally just...
A sword.
It's a sword, it does sword damage, and it has like a chance to hit, yada yada, it has attack. But it's, you know, that's if it's just a regular sword. In the very description before, on the page before, when talking about animated constructs in general, it says things like, you know, there's no reason it can't have a personality of its own or be a magic item. Like, why? You can have a flying sword just be like a minion of a bigger fight, maybe with animated armors and stuff. But why not have an animated sword be an item that you want and you have to like beat to get? I love the idea of of like an animated sword being
an artifact.
An artifact,
Yeah.
And again, like the way having it as a fight first means you can like look at its magical properties before you get it, and it also means you can like if it's a unique one, you can even give it like maneuvers or something. I think that could be very cool.
Yeah.
And you can use that to hint at the previous owner, like, oh, this sword belonged to some super tactical fighter, so it has lots of maneuvers, or this was a barbarian, so it's a great sword, or it does say, you know, it's a flying sword, but what it is a flying weapon. So there's no reason it couldn't be like a great sword or an axe, or, you know, any flying weapon. I think we should stick to swords today for the drawings, but if you're running the game, no reason not to have it be whatever you want it to be, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, again, I haven't got much to say about the actual... I specifically chose this one because it's very... There's not much to say about it beyond that.
Yeah.
Like...
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
So, it's really going to be about the sword. Now, I want to do something like... I want to kind of go for like a falcata, copis kind of thing.
Okay.
But because I really like those... That's it.
Now, what I like about this episode as well is we're all going to be very distracted by our own drawing, and so
we've got to talk about what we're doing as well.
So talk about your processes, because I think this is a good opportunity to talk about fantasy sword design, which is something that is very contentious, with good reason. With no good reason it's contentious. I have my opinions of it. They're sort of in the middle. I think I get more annoyed at people who are snobby about swords than people who just want to have a big sword. But I also think there's such a thing as too much. I don't, for example, like serrations on swords. I think that's dumb. Whenever I see a fantasy sword with like a saw blade, that cheeses me off a little bit.
I think it depends. If it's near like the base, then...
Yeah, but then it's like a tool.
Yeah, but like sword breakers did exist.
Oh, okay. If it's right. That's not a serrated sword.
This is the in-depth sword nerd conversation you said you hated. Anyway, like we're gonna.
But the sword nerd conversation I hate is like, oh, a big sword. You wouldn't be heavy enough to swing that. It would rip your bones out. It's like, yeah, of course it would. You clown. You're not a wizard either.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how I draw a sword.
Well, yes, I don't think I gave you something too difficult to do, but it's not completely easy. I'm going to be using some.
I just checked in, and you can write for reference. I like how you've sketched out like Norman and his thing. I've drawn 3 lines. Great.
I'm going to come up with a story for mine, like.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's what's great about Flying Sword. It's so nothing that it's very customizable. One of the things, enduring things about fantasy and humans in general, is swords have never been that good at war. They were never the main weapon of any army, because they're not that practical. But everyone has always thought swords were cool.
Yeah.
throughout history, swords have always been awesome. And whether it's to do with some Freudian phallic symbol of power, which is probably pretty likely, or just there's something inherently cool about them.
Yeah, they're long and sharp, and you need skill to wield them.
Skill, and they're very expensive, and they're shiny. They're just very cool. And the Vikings knew it. They were like, well, swords, axes, and spears are how you fight, but swords, if you're like cool, if you have a sword as well. Again.
So what I was thinking of when you started talking about cool things you could do with them.
Yeah.
Immediately went to my head was the idea of a wild blade. You could build up the idea of a blade that has no master, and you must tame the blade to make it yours. That's cool.
Yeah, like a horse.
My drawing takes up like a very small part of my.
I expected that. Shouldn't be stressful. I mean, it is, but it shouldn't be.
Just believe in yourself. Believe in the heart of the drawing, Sam. Sam, remember, you just have faith in the fact that you're putting lines on paper because of, at the moment, that's all I've got to go on is the fact that I am in fact drawing. But yeah, a wild blade or something like, or a sword that, as you were saying, like had a master. And
I think giving a sword a story has been something that people have done forever.
Yeah.
And that I think flying sword gives you the opportunity to do that. Or, if you're having like a lich fight, it gives you an opportunity to have it as a bunch of minions if you don't want to have like skeletons or whatever. Just have the lich animates a bunch of swords, and that's like, in like a haunted castle. Again, that's another thing about like the animated stuff section of the book. It really doesn't like go into specifics of how things are animated, which really just means you can have it be whatever you want. So it can be ghostly, or it can be, by design, or it can be whatever.
I can see why this is by artist choice. This one definitely.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very creative outlet. And also, because of the different, as you were saying, everyone thinks swords are cool. You can always have the different styles. Like this could be a great way of putting a katana into a campaign.
Yeah, because, I mean, if that's what you want.
If your fighter loves katanas, maybe you don't, but he wants a cool one, and you're like, but it doesn't fit style wise. Have a mysterious blade from the east, and then you make it an event that he has a strange sword that has its own maybe personality.
Yeah, and then again, it's something that people will remember, something like that. They'll go nuts for that.
Yeah, there was to bring up a much worse show than us, Critical Role.
Ugh! Dude, why even talk about Critical Role?
There was a sword in season 1 called Craven Edge.
Oh yeah, I think I actually know about that bit.
And it was an evil blade, and the barbarian had it, and it was just a way to get evilness kind of into the party.
I think this would be maybe an okay drawing if I was 4 years old.
Again, I'd like to just point out to the audience and brag a little bit. I went to university for drawing and stuff, so don't judge my chums who do not draw habitually. This has been very handy. This show has been great for me for showing off, because it's the two things that I'm like know about is drawing and D&D. Ask me about anything else, and I will not know.
Mine are called the right and left hand of Hannibal.
Oh yeah. So why are yours animated?
Mine are animated because of they were animated because of the pure vengeance their wielder felt in his moment of death.
I see.
Somehow led into the blades, and they're found in some kind of tomb to him, or maybe in the tomb of his enemies.
It's got its own quest.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It could give you a quest if it's a talking one. Again, I feel like we're going. I'm personally going a little off topic and just straight up talking about like sentient items. But I think the flying sword is one of those monsters that in the book it literally just has, I think, attack, and it has a bunch of rules about like if you do like anti-magic field and stuff, which is not. It's not rules about stuff it does. It's rules about what you do to it. And it's just, if you use anti-magic field, it like dies until the field is gone. It's like, wow, what a cool thing, guys. Really interesting.
I actually did use that once. I had an encounter which was a entire dinner table of objects, including a big flan and stuff like that. That was all in an anti-magic field, and it was actually an ooze. But in like the anti-magic field, I came up with some stuff that it's an animated ooze, so it's not animate, right?
Yeah.
And there was like a suit of armor, and if the anti-magic field was turned off, then all of the cutlery would come to life as animated weapons, and
That's cool.
The flan would become an ooze, and it would all come to life. And it was basically the be our guest encounter.
Yeah.
Which was very funny because I found a rock instrumental version of Be Our Guest.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very good.
I just realised the sword I've drawn is freaking huge. The sword I've drawn is like 10 feet long, I'm pretty sure.
Mine are like 2 short swords.
Okay, mine is definitely a D12.
But they're coming at Norman, and they're coming at him fast.
He fought that gelatinous cube all on his own. I assume he won. I don't know if these are in chronological order, but I did give him a Mimic pet after the Mimic episode in the outro screen.
There's somewhat.
Oh, I just had an idea as well, actually.
I feel like I've also apologized just being so quiet in this because I'm trying.
I'm amazed I talk so much doing this.
How do you do this?
But like, this is my secret. I never stop talking.
I've got an idea. Because I've got falcatas and they're kind of like, because I've done falcatas and they're kind of like shaped at the front. We're gonna give them angry eyes, like they're shark heads.
Okay, sure. You're also gonna have a lot more personality than mine. Mine's just like a fantasy sword.
Well, there's also the false life element with them, that they are legitimately indeterminable to be an object.
This is a literal physical object that has been brought to life through magic, and I guess you could try and have a biologically flying sword. I don't think so, but you could.
I forgot the pommel.
Oh,
so I can end him rightly.
Oh, of course. My pommel's a big fist, so you could unscrew that and chuck it right at him. I like putting fists on pommels. It doesn't really make much sense. I've never seen it. But again, like that's a massive thing that sword nerds will like. They'll be furious if like fantasy swords are not based off like historical ones. Like, if you can't like provide a reference to a real historical sword, in fact, sword nerds will go like, oh my god, guys, have a bit of fun for once in your lives, please. It's like materialists were like, oh, you couldn't make a sword out of glass. It's like, no, of course he couldn't.
You couldn't make a sword out of star.
Or like bone. Yeah, he made sort of meteorites are mostly just iron. So if you make a meteorite sword, it could be an iron sword. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
From space.
Yeah, it's space iron. It could be.
The Egyptians knew it was cool.
Think how much cooler that would be.
So much cooler.
How do we feel about the sword?
Flying sword is rubbish. It's like a 5. Not even that. Only a 5. It's better than Zvat. What was the Glabrazoo? That was like an 8, I think I gave it.
No, Glabrazoo was like a 6, I think.
Yeah, I think this is like a 5 for flying sword. I think what you can do with it is awesome.
Yeah.
But I think what it is lame.
Yeah.
It's
really
just,
bad.
It's just an attack. It's an attack with a health bar.
It
Which
is.
is what it should be. Right?
I'm going at 2.
2.
I have no connection. Like, I'm just looking at my bad art.
I think the flying sword in the book is definitely like a 2.
Okay, sure.
I just think it's a bit. I wouldn't use it. I'd always use like animated armor instead.
Oh, but it's not instead. It's as well. But
I suppose so. But I think obviously, but the scope of being able to, you could do quite a lot of it. To be fair, so that gives it some points. I like the cut of its jib, so I'm gonna make it like a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it can do cool things with it. Like, there's a lot you could do. Things with like it being possessed by a certain, like maybe it could be like a demon trapped in it or something. Or it's been done everywhere. It's you can make a nice nod to another bit of medium.
I think what it really depends on as well is the genre, the kind of genre you're going for.
Yeah.
So like if you have a spooky castle, Zval or a goblin ain't necessarily going to work. But if you just want a bunch of mooks, Yeah, a bunch of flying swords in your spooky castle. You can have that in a vampire castle. You can have it in a ghost castle.
Very true.
You can have it in a wizard castle. I think they're better. I think they're better than 2. That's why I'm staying on 5.
Yeah, I'm going 4.
That's fair. Oh, sweet.
It's got a very abstract background.
Oh, I love it.
It does. Yeah. I forget how huge that sword is.
It's
So
very big.
I love the twine.
Oh yeah. I felt it needed a bit of movement around, and it's clearly some sort of magical sparkleness going on.
Yeah, the impact is great.
Well, yeah, it's Norman's terrible short sword is being damaged.
Short sword of terribleness.
Yeah, -1 short sword. I'll give you guys the other picture as well. I did. I didn't draw the. I made a decision to only draw one of your swords, Sam, because
That's understandable.
it would have messed up the composition of the page.
Ooh.
To have a 4th.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, damn.
Oh, sweet.
The shading's not too complicated either.
Look at
But
those boys.
Oh.
Took some liberties. The left and right hand of Hannibal, I sort of implied the sharks with like some pattern weldy sort of stuff.
No, it's great. I mean, I didn't want them to be literal sharks.
I don't know. There's 2 ways to go.
But yeah, no, that's brilliant. That's perfect.
That's really cool.
And for our sort of nightmare Tai Chi Wushu sword, I think it's like it was obviously a nicer sword at one point, but it's been like corrupted by a thing.
That's really cool, though. I like the natural unnaturalness of it.
Yeah, and I did want to give it a blade at the end though, because I'm adverse to having. If you're calling it a sword, it should have a blade. Is my final point on swords. So it's you know it's got like a cool rust scary bit, but then it's also got a sharp bit at the end.
You give a little poke.
Yeah, so you can cut stuff with it. Also, because the tentacle would make it difficult to cut stuff. That would ruin your edge alignment.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's super cool, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very good.
I think that put my score up to 3.
Whoa.
Yeah. The subscribe button isn't enchanted, so you should press it and maybe I don't know. I'm gone.
No, I feel like
Make sure to stab the
stab the like
notification
button,
bell.
Yeah.
guys. Make an attack roll with your mouse on the like button.
And give us a thumbs up if you manage to hit it.
Ah, genius.
Yeah.
I like all of this.
Yep.
This is all very bad. But not at least some things don't change, eh? Do all the interacting stuff on YouTube.
Interact with us.
Interact with us, but not too much because we got our own stuff going on. You probably need to get on with stuff and just...
interact with your friends about the show and let them also interact with it as well.
If you've got a D&D friend or play D&D
or a regular friend.
Or just a regular friend who hates D&D and needs to be shown the error of their ways.
Don't show them this show. Show them something else.
Yeah, this might be a better place to start.
And if you don't have friends, just show it to strangers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to be associated with that kind of behaviour.
No, maybe not actually.
And
Make it clear that you don't know me if you do decide to show it to strangers in the street.